Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ Live here on Facebook.com. You can also check it out on demand at youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. SmackDown Live just concluded moments ago. Thank you all for your birthday comments. And yes, I'm still doing a video today. No days off. We got SmackDown to talk about. You can also send me questions about Raw, Survivor Series, anything you would like me to talk about. Go ahead and leave a comment if you're watching this live. If you're watching live, please spread the word. Share this video with your friends. Salvatore asks, do you think 3 losses to Ellsworth hurts AJ Styles? Not really. I find this James Ellsworth storyline to be very entertaining. And once again, another really entertaining match between AJ Styles and James Ellsworth. And let's face it, Dean Ambrose was the factor. He interfered in the match despite being told by Shane McMahon to stay out of the building. And some funny segments on this show. You had Dean Ambrose coming back with a pizza, trying to offer a slice of pizza to Shane McMahon. And then later, he shows up, confronts Daniel Bryan as the Mountie. I thought that was awesome. And then during this latter match, we had AJ beating the crap out of Ellsworth, tearing off the neck brace and the back brace. I mean, it's clear. It's very established, and I think it's obvious to the fans watching that James Ellsworth is no match for AJ Styles. Ellsworth could never beat AJ without the help of Dean Ambrose. And that's why I think it's fine for Ellsworth to get these wins over AJ Styles. I like it as part of the build-up. It's something different, and it's very entertaining. And at the end of the day, I want to be entertained, and I think AJ still has credibility despite getting beat, if you want to call it beat, by James Ellsworth. Yes, Ellsworth actually did do something in this match thanks to help from Ambrose. He tipped over the ladder, sending AJ to the outside and then hitting the no chin music and AJ getting his foot caught in the ropes. I mean, I thought it was great entertainment, so I liked it. I thought it was a good ending to SmackDown. Sean Douglas asks me, do you think Goldberg will win the Rumble? Yes or no? I am not sure. I would be surprised. I mean, I'm leaning towards no right now. I think it's too early to make a prediction for the Royal Rumble. I think maybe closer to the event, I could give you a better prediction. I think what's more likely is Lesnar will eliminate Goldberg, or Goldberg will eliminate Lesnar in the Rumble, and then Lesnar comes back in and costs Goldberg the match. That's what I'm expecting. Who knows, though? Maybe Goldberg will be red hot leading up to the Royal Rumble, and WWE will decide to go with Goldberg getting one last title shot at WrestleMania. I guess you could say never, but it would surprise me right now. I would be surprised if WWE went that far. We have 45 listeners or viewers right now, whatever. Thank you guys for checking out NoDQ Live. Make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/AaronRift. Do you think the Mean Street Posse should be in the Rumble? From David Smith. It would be funny to see Shane enter the Rumble and then have the Mean Street Posse show up and attack Shane. That might be a funny, nostalgic thing to do. And I know recently Shane and Pete Gas were reunited. I think at the NXT show, an NXT live event, I believe. Pete Gas was sitting there with Shane McMahon. So it might be funny one day to have the Mean Street Posse show up in a cameo spot, maybe at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that would be entertaining. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, thank you guys for watching this video, and thank you all for the birthday comments. What about a heel and cocky Ambrose versus Cena at Mania if Cena is not competing for the title? I would love to see Dean Ambrose turn heel. I've talked about this before. I think at TLC, Ellsworth should accidentally cost Ambrose the match, and after that, Ambrose snaps and just destroys James Ellsworth, and you have Dean Ambrose as a heel going into 2017. So yeah, Cena versus a heel Ambrose, I would like that. I would be fine with it. I mean, some might prefer a face Ambrose versus a heel Cena, but let's be real here. I doubt we are going to see that. But then again, you know, none of us thought Goldberg was going to beat Brock Lesnar, so anything can happen. And I like the fact that we're thinking this way, that WWE might actually do something completely unexpected. But Cena turning heel, that would really surprise me. Is Paige going to ever come back? My gut feeling is no, but what else is she going to do? I mean, TNA, is that really an option for Paige at this point? I think if she's smart and somebody smartens her up, then she will come back to WWE and resume her role as one of the women involved in the women's revolution in WWE, rather than just not appear again and just continue to go on a downward spiral. Hopefully Paige does come back and gets her act together and can have another great run in WWE. But right now, I think my gut feeling is we're not going to see her again. But I'm hoping we do. I'm hoping that things will work out for her and she'll come back and do great things. Let's see some of the comments here. I apologize if I missed some of your comments. They go through so quickly. Should NXT be TV14? Why? NXT is fine just the way it is. NXT has been great with what they've been doing. So why do TV14? I mean, it's totally not necessary. Do you think Ty Dillinger should go to SmackDown Live? Sure. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me which show he's on. I mean, I could see him being on SmackDown, but really Raw needs more people since Raw is a 3-hour show. But I think he would have a better chance. I think most guys would have a better chance of succeeding on SmackDown. The problem is SmackDown's just a 2-hour show. And I'd rather SmackDown not be 3 hours and put more guys on Raw. But that's just my opinion. Are you shocked that The Godfather got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame? Not really. I think The Godfather was a great character, and, you know, I always make this point. Coco Beware got into the WWE Hall of Fame, and therefore, I think anybody can go in. I think the NoDQ.com Hall of Fame will have more credibility than the WWE Hall of Fame, which, by the way, you can keep voting at NoDQ.com/polls. We have about another week left in the month of November. You can vote once a day, and I think this 2016 class is going to be really impressive, and I think that the way the NoDQ.com Hall of Fame is formatted, not too many people will go in each year, and I think only top tier names are going to go in each year. So I think in the end, the NoDQ.com Hall of Fame will have a lot of credibility. With WWE, it's more about publicity and just generating headlines and about nostalgia, whether somebody was a big star or not. Godfather was at least a memorable character, so that's why he's in. And then, of course, the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, you had Donald Trump go in, and now he's the President of the United States. WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump is going to be running the United States of America. Would it be the ultimate shock if Bobby Roode won the Royal Rumble? That would be a huge shock. If anybody that's currently in NXT won the Royal Rumble, I would be very surprised. And I'm not expecting it. I mean, we almost never see somebody new win the Royal Rumble. I mean, traditionally over the years, it's always been somebody that is an established talent. You see John Cena winning in 2008, Orton in 2009, Edge, Batista, Roman Reigns, Triple H, all these established stars. There were a couple years where you had Del Rio winning and Sheamus winning, but beyond that, we really haven't seen much in the way of newer stars winning the Royal Rumble. But I would love to see it. I mean, Joe or Nakamura or Bobby Roode, one of those guys winning, I think would be absolutely awesome and would instantly establish them as top-tier guys. Cena versus Taker WrestleMania. Cena wins the title and retires Taker, and Cena wins the Rumble. That seems to be a heavily rumored scenario for WrestleMania, and I know some people would not like the idea of Cena winning the Rumble again and then beating The Undertaker and retiring Undertaker. But, I mean, Cena and Undertaker would be huge. One of the biggest matches WWE could possibly do for WrestleMania, and I feel they're running out of time, and that's like one of the big dream matches that WWE hasn't done yet. Gilbert versus Ellsworth, who would win? I'd love to see that match. I would love to see Gilbert in the Royal Rumble just come out as a joke and have the real Goldberg throw him out right away. I'd love to see that. What about Aries debuting at the Rumble? I would like it, but again, I think that it's unlikely. I think that when Aries does come back, WWE will have him in NXT for a while before they call him up. It's not like they're just going to leapfrog him to the main roster just because he got hurt. Same thing with Hideo Itami. Because of the fact that he got hurt, I think the company is going to be a little bit more cautious. And, with Austin Aries, it was a complete freak accident. So I don't think Aries will be getting injured again when he comes back. I think it was just a freak accident. With Itami, there's a little bit of fear about him being injury prone. But yeah, I think it's more likely Aries will come back in NXT for a while and then debut on the main roster. So I think it's a long shot. Chad Rico, if Adrian Neville went to SmackDown Live, do you think he would be a top star? I think he would be in a better position than he is now. I'm really not understanding what WWE is doing with him right now. He really needs some kind of boost to give his career a new start, and SmackDown might be that boost for him. Give him a fresh change of environment and a new place to perform, and give him a fresh start. I would like to see that. Neville on SmackDown, I could definitely see as a strong possibility, although people are saying Zayn should go to SmackDown, Cesaro should go to SmackDown. The problem is if too many guys go to SmackDown, it's only a 2-hour show and people are going to be lost in the shuffle. So you have to be really selective. And Neville's got nothing going on right now, so to me, he would be the top candidate. At least Cesaro has a storyline. Who do you think will be inducted into next year's Hall of Fame class? From George. Bearded Rift for the win. I think that Goldberg is a serious contender. I think China will probably go in. There are a few other guys. Vader. I mean, those three right there, I think, are pretty solid choices. And, of course, maybe The Undertaker. But I'd rather see Undertaker have his final match and then the next year go into the Hall of Fame rather than... Because the thing is, when The Undertaker goes into the Hall of Fame, I think everyone's going to expect him to break character. And it would not make sense for him to break character before he has his WrestleMania match. So I think it's better for him to have his final match at WrestleMania. Then the next year he can go into the Hall of Fame and do the big out-of-character speech and finally break kayfabe on WWE television for the first time ever. 100 comments so far. So thank you guys for your comments and birthday wishes and all that. Grant asks, who was worse, Luger or Sid? That's a good question. I mean, Luger had some good matches when he was in the ring with the right opponent. I think Sid was a little bit more charismatic. I think Sid was a little bit more entertaining as a heel than Lex Luger. Luger was a good babyface. I think Sid had a little bit more intensity, but neither of them were particularly good in the ring. So I think I would give the slight edge in the ring to Luger just because Luger could be carried to good matches when he was in there with Flair and Sting. Sid, I think Sid had a decent match with Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series and maybe had a decent match with Bret Hart, but Sid really did not excel that much in the ring. So it's a tough one. And yeah, I'd like to see both of them in the Hall of Fame. Brian asks about them being in the Hall of Fame. I would be fine with either of them or both of them going into the Hall of Fame as soon as possible. Salvatore, do you think Brian will wrestle again? No. Kayfabe Candy Ass is here asking about Kurt Angle. I'm not sure what's going on with Kurt Angle. I mean, I think that Kurt Angle will show up in WWE again one day, probably in the Hall of Fame, but as far as him wrestling again, I would not get my hopes up on that. Do you think Austin should have won his final match against The Rock at WrestleMania 19? No, I mean, Austin was on his way out, and the old school mentality is when you're leaving, you put over the guy that's sticking around, and I think that was Austin's mentality. I think he would have refused to beat The Rock. I think he would have wanted to put over the guy that is sticking around And that's what he did. Austin went out and put over the guy that was going to be continuing wrestling. Although Rock did not do that many more matches after that. But yeah, that's the general idea, is that when you're leaving, you put over the younger talent. Grant, worst Four Horsemen member. Paul Roma. That's an easy one. Chris asks, will we see a Money in the Bank match at this year's WrestleMania? I would love to see a SmackDown Zayn or a debuting Aries win. It's possible. I mean, I mentioned this before. I would like to see perhaps a cruiserweight ladder match, or do a cruiserweight Money in the Bank match, although that wouldn't make sense if Money in the Bank's for any title. Maybe just a general ladder match. Although if Money in the Bank is exclusive to one pay-per-view, you could have the other brand get their Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. I like that idea a lot. I'm not sure at this point. I don't recall if it's SmackDown or Raw that's getting the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But the brand that isn't, they can have their match at WrestleMania. So I like that idea as well. Roberto asks, will Cody return to WWE? I would not rule it out. I think it's definitely a possibility. We've seen Goldust come back several times over the years, so why not Cody? I mean, when the timing's right, I think it will come down to timing, and when Cody feels there's a good opportunity to come back and make a big impact. New Day heel turn soon, from Ricky Lawson. I think it's getting close to time to break up the group. I mean, once they break Demolition's record, I expect them to lose the titles relatively quickly. I think the Revival should beat them. I think the Revival should be called up, beat the New Day, and then split up the New Day heading into WrestleMania. And at WrestleMania, you do a triple threat match between the three New Day members. The New Day explodes, just like the Mega Powers exploded at WrestleMania 33. That's how I would book it. What do you think of Mania in Two Cities, from Alexander Hamilton III? We saw WWE do that back in 1986, hosting WrestleMania in 3 cities, and back then they did not have the technology to really pull it off. I think now they could pull it off, and I actually would be a fan of that. It's a nice change of pace from doing the stadium WrestleManias, and people would have better seats, and you have a strong enough roster where I think you could do 3 cards, but since you have 2 brands, two arenas would make more sense. So yeah, that would be a great idea. Like have Raw at Staples Center and SmackDown at MSG, or vice versa. Switch it around. I think that would be an awesome idea, actually. And if you did it in LA and New York, you could jack up the ticket prices and probably make close to as big of a gate as if you did a stadium. So I think it's an idea worth trying. I think it's worth experimenting and doing something like that, maybe for a future WrestleMania. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to stick to their format of doing the stadiums. And they got lots of cities that are bidding for WrestleMania. So I think it's very much a long shot. But maybe they could do that for another pay-per-view. Maybe they could do that for a Royal Rumble. I mean, they already have Survivor Series planned out for Houston and SummerSlam in Brooklyn again. So maybe 2018 Royal Rumble they could do that. Raw in Los Angeles and SmackDown. Although with the Royal Rumble that wouldn't really work, I guess. Maybe another pay-per-view. They could try that as an experiment. I think it's a very interesting idea, but I'm not sure that they will do it. Chris asks, will we ever see a Buried Alive match again? I would say never, but it doesn't seem like there's any good reason to do one. Maybe they'll do the Wyatt family in some kind of Buried Alive match. I mean, that was the Undertaker's match, so if they did it again, maybe they could do it with the Undertaker, but beyond that, would it really make sense? I mean, they did do Bray Wyatt versus Kane in the Ring of Fire/Inferno match, so you could do it, but I think you would need a good storyline reason to do it, rather than just say, hey, we're going to do a Buried Alive match for no reason whatsoever. Maybe with Finn Balor in it, I guess, since he's kind of like an Undertaker-type character. Have you seen Brandy Rhodes perform on Impact? She makes Eva Marie look like Shawn Michaels, from Ricky Lawson. Yeah, I did see one of the clips of her, and it was not good. It was very rough to watch. So yeah, I mean, Brandy's not that good. She's better doing the announcing, but that's just my opinion. David asks, what are the chances of Test ever getting inducted into the Hall of Fame? I think the odds are against it. I say this a lot. People ask when is a certain deceased superstar going to go into the Hall of Fame? And my answer is always, there's a long line of guys that were very big stars that have died and have not been inducted into the Hall of Fame yet. Guys like Owen Hart, guys like Rick Rude. There's a lot of people that are going to be above Test on the list of deceased superstars going into the Hall of Fame. And can you see Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins winning the tag team titles? Probably not. They're both busy doing other things besides going for the tag team titles. So unless they're going to be feuding against each other, and WWE wants to do that very much played out storyline where the guys feuding become tag team champions, I don't see it happening. Who is your favorite wrestler you met in real life? From Brian Matthew Duff. RVD, no question. RVD, super cool dude. He was always really nice to all of us at NoDQ.com. Just very, very nice guy in person. Very chill. Very much like his TV character. Aaron O'Brien, do you think that if CM Punk... Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Why has WWE not brought back Halloween Havoc? I think the main reason is it's not their creation, although they renamed Night of Champions Clash of Champions. I would much rather see Halloween Havoc than Hell in a Cell. Get rid of the Hell in a Cell themed pay-per-view and do Halloween Havoc as the October pay-per-view. But that's just me, and they haven't done it, and I don't think they're going to do it because I think Vince doesn't want to use that WCW concept. Now, maybe one day when Vince is out of the picture, Triple H will step in and say, hey, let's do Halloween Havoc. I would like to see it. Somebody asked me about Bobby Roode's entrance at WrestleMania and how big that would be. That would be awesome. I mean, Bobby Roode coming out at WrestleMania, or Nakamura for that matter, what a WrestleMania entrance that would be with 70,000 people singing the song. I mean, I'm very much looking forward to that day, which has to be inevitable at this point. Let's see. Your thoughts on Sin Cara and the Chris Jericho situation. I think that it was hilarious what Jericho did on Raw wearing the Sin Cara mask. It's not good for somebody like Sin Cara to be getting in this kind of trouble when he is expendable. I mean, they could get rid of him. They could have somebody else put on the Sin Cara mask. I mean, Jericho would be much more difficult to replace. So if Jericho's getting in a fight here and there, I mean, there's not a lot WWE can do about it. I mean, if Jericho has problems with the company, he'll just walk away. He's got other things to do. I think WWE needs Jericho more than Jericho needs WWE at this point. Goldberg as Universal Champion or World Champion? Well, since he's going to be performing on Raw, I think he'll be going for the Universal title if that even happens. I think a lot of that will have to do with how well received Goldberg is, and if WWE feels he's making a lot of money for the company and he's worth investing in. And if apparently Goldberg is willing to do as many matches as WWE is willing to pay him the big bucks for. So if there's money to be made from both sides, then it's certainly a possibility. Who would you book Roman Reigns against at WrestleMania? That's a very good question. I would like to see Reigns against, I'm not even sure who at this point. Maybe Braun Strowman. You could build up Strowman for Reigns at WrestleMania. I'd like to see Roman Reigns turn heel and fight one of the top baby faces, but I think that's very unlikely. I think it's a long shot at best that we're going to see Roman Reigns heel turn. But I want to see like Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, and looking at all the possible matches, I think Roman Reigns, if he's going to be a babyface, just put him in there with Braun Strowman. That might be the best way to utilize him. Put him in there with another big guy. Have him take out another monster like he did with Rusev. Should Ty Dillinger be number 10 at the Rumble? Yeah, I mean, I would do that. It's a no-brainer, and he's hot right now, so why not? Too bad Ryback left. We could have had a Goldberg versus Ryback match. I'm saying, bring back Ryback. If Goldberg's going to be around now for the time being, why not? Goldberg versus Ryback. I mean, Ryback is still fresh in the minds of the fans. That's a match people were talking about for years. have Ryback just jump Goldberg on one of these Raw episodes and do that match. I would love to see Ryback versus Goldberg. I mean, I don't think it would be a technical masterpiece or anything, but it would be interesting. I mean, it would definitely, if built up correctly, could be a very anticipated match for a pay-per-view. Sean Douglas, has Corbin been lost in the WWE shuffle? Well, at least he's on SmackDown. He's doing something. He's feuding with Kalisto, which is better than nothing, I guess. So as long as you're getting TV time, you cannot complain too much about being lost in the shuffle. I mean, it's guys like Neville that are really getting lost in the shuffle when they're not even appearing on television. Apparently, I have made Donald's list for some reason. Who can you see being the next two-time Hall of Famer? Well, if he's ever on good terms with WWE again, which I assume he will be, Hogan. Hogan going in as part of the NWO. Hogan, Hall, and Nash. And by the way, the NWO could very well end up in the NoDQ.com Hall of Fame. Make sure you keep voting at NoDQ.com/polls. NWO is definitely in the running to be part of the 2016 NoDQ.com Hall of Fame class. Y2J wins Money in the Bank at Mania and then cashes in on Kevin Owens. That's interesting. I'm not sure if WWE should wait that long to pull the trigger on Owens and Jericho. And plus, Jericho's going to have his stuff going on with Fozzy. I think if Jericho's available, I would like to see the split happen by the Royal Rumble and then do Jericho versus Owens at WrestleMania. That's something you could definitely do. That might even be better than Owens versus Finn Balor. You know, I'd like to see Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor since that was what was going on before Balor got hurt. Maybe you could turn Rollins back heel and do that for WrestleMania. So there's a lot of different possibilities. Jericho and Owens at WrestleMania would be awesome and would make a lot of sense considering how much WWE has invested in that feud. James Ellsworth versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania 33. Nah, that's okay. I mean, I think WWE needs to maybe drop the James Ellsworth character soon. I do think it's going to get stale after a couple more weeks, which is why I find it interesting that they just signed him to a contract when I feel he's starting to cool off. I'd like to see Ambrose beat the crap out of Ellsworth at TLC and go heel and let that be the end of the Ellsworth character, at least as a weekly thing. You could still have him appear every now and then, maybe be an entrant in the Royal Rumble. I'm sure Ellsworth will end up as an entrant in the Royal Rumble. Maybe we'll have an Ellsworth-Gilbert confrontation at the Royal Rumble. That would be cool. Sting's best match. Ric Flair at the Great American Bash in 1990. That's the first one that comes to my mind. That was the match where Sting won his first world title, and that was arguably the peak of his career. Another one I really like, Sting versus DDP, I believe the end of April 1999, April 26th, something like that. It was on Nitro. DDP lost the title to Sting. Awesome match. So what does WCW do? They have DDP win the title back later that night in a Four Corners match, which was totally stupid. Sting won the title, the place went nuts, and then they just put the title right back on DDP. And the ratings just tanked right after that. So that was another great one. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Live. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And again, thank you all for the birthday wishes. I will see you guys next time for more.